Hey guys, I'm going to do a top-down approach for abecedarians for our Grandma Moses painting. I'm setting myself a 20-minute timer because that's about the amount of time that they will have to paint between explaining and whatever. So I have a foam plate of paints and just a regular piece of paper. I think we're gonna have the bigger kids do a half sheet of paper, but the littler kids, they need more room to move around. Their hands aren't very good at details. So I think this will be good for them. So to do kind of the Grandma Moses style of top down with layers, I think that the best thing to do is to take a pencil and to do 3 very light lines all the way across. If your kids are really little and you want to pre-draw that, you could, because that might be tricky for them to do. But what we want to create is a background, a middle ground, and a foreground that's closest to you. So this painting is going to be upside down on there, but it will help me do it because I'm looking at it. Okay, so we're going to tell them to start with the sky. And what color is the sky? Probably light blue. So I'm going to dip my brush in the white and get a little bit of blue on it and then just paint my sky. You probably want a paintbrush that's not huge, so they can do some detail with it, but not a little skinny tiny one either. And if they just try to cover your whole sky, guys. Okay, so once your sky is all done, you'll want to rinse out your brush. I just have a square tub of water here so that we can use the same brush for the whole experiment. And having a napkin or paper towel, then you can just rinse it off and you are good as new. Okay, so the next step you're going to want to do is to paint some hills. So I'm going to take some green and just do like a curvy line. There we go. You could add some brown to it if they love mixing, but you know, you don't want to get too crazy. And so let's see, I might do mine a little bit thick, maybe like an inch or 2. Okay, so that's gonna be my foreground. I'm gonna rinse my brush off again. The next step is to paint some animals. So I'm going to use my brown and do some really basic animals right under my hills. So I've got a body and a head and some legs and a tail, and yay, I've got a horse. So I might do a black one over here, a body and some legs and a tail. There we go. Super easy. Hopefully your kiddos have an easy enough time with that. If they just, you know, have some blobs here with a head on it, that's, you know, look, I made a bear. Next step would be to paint something in the foreground. So this is going to be our biggest items. It would be cool to do a house or a barn. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell them to do like a big square. Yeah, maybe a bunch of red, so put some red paint in there. Yeah, brown is good. There we go. It's okay if it goes over my midline because it's right up front. So that's kind of the goal there. I might even want some little buildings in my middle ground. I forgot about that. So here's going to be a small barn over here. And I'm going to rinse out my brush again and paint some people. I'm going to do some yellow in with my brown and maybe some white too to make a light brown. Can't see that. Totally can't see that. I just pulled yellow, brown, and white together, and I've got kind of a skin tone. I have a medium skin tone. So I'm gonna draw maybe, let's see, 3 circles for some like little heads over here, and maybe 2 circles over here. They could even do like fingerprints if you want to do finger painting. That's fun. And then their bodies, you know, totally stick people here, guys. This should be really easy for them. Except now my people are naked. That's really unfortunate. So I'm gonna have to put some clothes on them. I'm just gonna clear out my brush and I'm gonna get some blue and black. And so we'll make pants, right? Okay. People up there, I'll show you closer up in a bit. Okay, so now I've got a foreground and a midground and a background, and I still have 13 minutes left, so this is going pretty well. Okay, so cleaned out my brush again, and what I want is color where all this boring white is. So I think I'm gonna have kind of a dirty brownish color for my front. So again, just mixing my colors right together on my plate. And I think a path would be cool. So if I had a path going from the barn, it would be big in the foreground. And then by the middle ground, it's gonna be pretty narrow. Okay, so I've got a little path there, and I think I'll make it more of a green color on the side. So I'm gonna mix green right into my plate where my brown was. So you can kind of color it in. This might be tricky for some of your younger kiddos, so they can skip this part. If they're having a ton of fun working on their little people, they could just paint more animals and stuff going on up front. Or they can just work carefully at this and know that it won't be perfect and that they're just practicing. And that is okay. All over your clothes and the floor. Marvelous. Okay, I want my middle ground to be just a little lighter than the rest. So I can mix in more yellow or some white to the color I was working on. Hello, horsies. All right, I think I am done at only 10 minutes. Here you are. This is my highly detailed and skilled, Grandma Moses painting for week 13 for abecedarian level. Hope that helps.